Man, some people could say, well, it's you've lost $1.5 million in value from that investment. In 2011, I bought my first Bitcoin for $2.52. Now, there's a lot of people out in the world who at the time thought Bitcoin was scam, thought it was absolutely nonsense. But for me, it turned out that this ended up being the best investment of my entire life. From 2011 to 2016, I was dabbling in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin for a while, and I was building applications, I was messing around and learning about what Bitcoin could be. Now, in 2016, I hooked up with Ed Bolian, as you guys well know, and we ended up creating VINwiki. And VINwiki is the world's largest free database of car information that you can find. So make sure that you guys find your way over to vinwiki.com. During that interesting phase of our early steps of VinWiki and building out the platform, Ed and I were driving around in Ed's green Murcielago and my white R8 with Lambo doors, and we were going to car shows all over America to pound pavement and get the word out about VinWiki. We were struggling a little bit as our initial growth was a little bit slow, but we knew the power of video and we knew that video was growing. Now this was back in 2016. And at the same time, Bitcoin had gone from about $2.50 from 2011 to about $5,000. I remember a day back in June in 2017 when we were all of us, Dan Huang, Dave Black, myself, Ed Bolian, we were all creating car stories on video. And some of you guys will remember our old office from back then. We were talking about car stories that we had, and a lot of these car stories were in retrospect, things that we had done in the past. I had done a video on VinWiki talking about my old Jeep and getting that stuck in the mud and stuck in the sand and trying to impress a girl at the time, if I remember correctly. But a lot of those videos weren't hitting. And the reason is because they were in retrospect. There were things that had been done in the past. At this really opportune time in 2017, Bitcoin was rising up to about $5,000, $5,500. And I had my eye on a 2015 Lamborghini Huracan LP610-4. And I just thought that this would be the best opportunity because some of you guys well know that if you're in the cryptocurrency space, you don't want to be a crypto bro. You don't want to be a Lambo moon guy. You don't want to be the meme. You don't want to waste all of your crypto gains on a Lambo. That would be foolery. At least that's what Reddit says. And so, me being the contrarian, obviously, I looked at Reddit and Reddit said, don't buy a Lambo with crypto gains. I thought that's an amazing idea. Let's do exactly that. I purchased the Lamborghini Huracan for 45 Bitcoin. We were all creating these videos for VinWiki. And this was the first up to date, what's going on with the founders? What are they actually doing? And so we decided to post this video of me purchasing the Bitcoin Lamborghini on VinWiki, and it absolutely shot to the moon. Not only did it blow up on VinWiki as being one of the fastest growing to 1 million views, but it also exploded out to the entire world. So I was connected with CNBC, I was on Yahoo Finance, I was on Maxim, I was on GQ, Popular Mechanics, I was on the Netflix show around Bitcoin. And over the next 3, 4 years, easily we tipped over 500 million views worldwide. And this not only helped catapult the VinWiki YouTube channel and the VinWiki app, but it was an amazing opportunity for me because it catapulted my career in Web3 and loving cars. And from there, I went off and I built another startup in the Web3 space. It was a multi-cryptocurrency exchange. We did exceptionally well. It allowed individuals to find arbitrage and make money. I got an early acquisition, early equity from that, as well as it catapulted me into building my first venture fund, which was a $2.5 million venture fund, family and friends. And we had excellent returns from that as well. During that time, many of you guys would think that this was a terrible investment. And so I ended up coming back on the VinWiki YouTube channel about 7 or 8 months later, talking about the investment, where Bitcoin was at. I think it was about 20 grand at the time. And so I think if we did the math, the Bitcoin Lamborghini investment was costing me about $4,000 a day. And if we look at the value of Bitcoin today at $35,000 a token, man, some people could say, well, it's you've lost $1.5 million in value from that investment. Well, first, my first answer is obviously that I have more smiles per gallon than most because it was a great investment. And I loved driving that car and absolutely destroying it in my own way. I put straight pipes on it. I put a big wang on it. I put flamethrowers in it. And I think today, as it stands, I sold that on Bring a Trailer, and it is the cheapest Lamborghini Huracan ever sold on bringatrailer.com ever. And so I think it's out in Houston right now. And from what I understand, they have been trying to make it from an automatic into a manual. So when people think about the $1.5 million in losses that I incurred from this Bitcoin Lambo, I don't look at it that way at all. Again, the Bitcoin Lamborghini catapulted me into my next career and the next startups and the next investments that I made. And I don't see it as a net negative in any single way. If we look at the average cost per click or cost per user in a mobile app or any type of platform in today's world, that investment easily with 300 to 500 million views worldwide would easily be worth 3 to 5 million dollars. So for those who are like to laugh at me online and make comments and say, "Oh, you lost 1.5 million dollars," I would say absolutely not. I've earned more than 5 million dollars worth of advertising value, networking value, in terms of credibility in the market, exposure, as well as optics. And so I won out big time. Not only did VINwiki YouTube channel win and the VINwiki app win, but me in my personal and professional life won as well. So I will always look at the purchase of the Bitcoin Lamborghini being one of the best investments that I've ever made. During this time, my son was getting into racing. Now, as an SCCA licensed race car driver, I'm often a gentleman driver or a paid driver for teams that are lacking one or need someone to fill in the gap. Now, I will never claim as being a good race car driver. Generally, I tell the principal or the team owner that I'm good enough to not make things worse. But I've learned a couple things in my own racing career. First and foremost, racing is ridiculously expensive, and there is no prize money to be heard of. It's nowhere. It's just a money suck. It's almost as bad as some of you guys would say my investment into the Bitcoin Lambo. You're just losing money. But being an entrepreneur and operator, I found opportunities to improve the racing world, specifically with sponsorship using technology and operational optimization. So, what we've done over the last year is we've built an application called GarageID. In the world of racing, everybody knows that racing is ridiculously expensive. And if we're intellectually honest, most race car drivers are just Neanderthals. They're really good at going fast, but they're not good at sales. They're not good at marketing. They're not great at technology. And what's worse in the racing world, often they're not good at servicing their sponsors. And so, what we want to do at Garage ID is we want to not only lower the costs of racing by creating a marketplace for drivers and driver enthusiasts to find sponsors, but we want to make it easier for drivers and aspiring drivers to connect with sponsors in a marketplace so that they can tell them how much they need, what exposure the sponsor is going to get for their money, how many races they're going to be going to, what parts and consumables they need, as well as how they're going to service the sponsor and ensure the sponsor gets good marketing, gets good optics, and ensures that their livery and their stickers are well placed on the car. And on the sponsorship side, we make it really easy for any type of sponsor to be able to send money to that driver so that they can get back on the track. One of the things that I know from my experience as a constructor and privateer of a race team, my son's race team, is that asking for money requires a lot of ego. And frankly, I have a lot of ego. And it's hard for me to ask anybody for money because I can do anything. What Driver Sponsor does is it helps the racing driver, it helps the constructor, or even the team be able to easily connect their driver profile, their garage ID to sponsors, marketers, vendors, and retailers, showing them clearly what they need and what the sponsor is going to get in return and making it easy for those sponsors, whether it's a real sponsor, a vendor, an OEM, a retailer, or even your grandma Jane, or even your uncle, Uncle Bob, or even your favorite homie, Poncho, to give you money.
Between cannonballs and rallies and car treks, I've been on well over 100 road trips, but one of the things that I always see is that nobody else is terribly prepared. And this is not just a jab at Freddie, but generally people don't bring the tools, the supplies, and the things they need to make it all the way to the destination of their road trip. And so I decided, after building kind of the kit that I take between cars for the long drives I go in Unreliable Vehicles, as the ultimate road trip survival kit. And you'll find a link in the description below to an Amazon shopping cart of the things that I think you need in order to get there and get there without a tow bill attached to it. So check it out now, buy what you think you want, let me know in the comments what I left out, and we'll try to keep refining it so we can build the ultimate road trip survival box.